It's been a hell of a interesting year, man. In the house that I was living in, I was suffering from EMF pollution, electromagnetic radiation pollution from all the different towers and electronics. And I was living like within 2 blocks of an FM radio station tower.
And that can manifest as headaches, right?
Yeah, dude, I was having brain fog. I was waking up with a racing heart, and I was waking up like every hour and a half.
How did you get to the bottom of that?
So my internet and my Wi-Fi kept getting knocked out. And when you're doing a ton of podcasts to raise money for your Kickstarter or your Indiegogo, it's a bitch when all of a sudden your Wi-Fi goes out for no fucking reason and you're spending extra money for Spectrum business plan. And it just didn't work for shit. And I was talking about it with a friend of mine who's an electrician. And I'm like, yeah, Rich, I don't know what's going on, man. And he's like, oh, dude, the radio tower's right there. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, the radio tower's just a couple blocks over there. Down the street are all now 5G Wi-Fi parking meters. And the fire department is a couple blocks away and they're all 5G Wi-Fi shit. And it's just like, fuck.
It sounds like you were one of the few people in the world that could legitimately complain about 5G.
Yeah, right? So, I mean, I love the house. I love the property, but I had to get out, and I had to get out in a fucking hurry.
If you're into all that cosmic stuff, that might just be an indication that it's time for you to move to another part of your life.
That's actually how I'm looking at it. I downsized.
Yeah.
I let go of a lot of stuff. So I'm moving into this new place, and I've got 4 male cats. And Jesus Christ, do they shit like crazy. Oh my God, the fucking cat litter. It's a fucking shit NATO here. I feel like I'm in a Trailer Park Boys episode. It's cozy. It's different. I haven't lived in like this kind of situation in a long time, but I needed a change.
Yeah.
Like you said, a change of life. I'm going to be 54 in May. And I decided, yeah, I did need to make a change. And I sold a bunch of my old furniture. I sold off a bunch of other things and just, I let it go. Hey, Abby, how are you? Speak of the devil.
She appears.
Yes, she appears in her little red coat. I'm on the phone now with the Homeland, Hart.
The Homeland Security Podcast. Yep.
Homeland Security Podcast.
We're just checking on the social security number and blood type. Make sure we got the right information.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, so it's a lot of changes happening for me over the last couple of years, and getting back into publishing comic books again has been full circle. And then having the Dahmer thing brought up all over again in this Netflix series and have them throw me under the bus again 30 years later. I'm like, it's been 30 years and you assholes are still saying the same lies about my book. I don't even know why my comics have to be part of this miniseries. But the guy who produced it, he knows me. Like, doesn't know me personally, but we're aware of each other. And so I think there was something personal in why that was included in the series. It completely misrepresents the books, you know, and they Photoshop different artwork. So they misrepresented my company products. And some of the covers that they Photoshopped, it's my artwork they Photoshopped. I drew it. And it's really weird to see your work altered. And all they had to do was call me up, you know, because I've had my books in lots of movies. Kathleen Turner is a serial killer and Serial Mom. And so her trial, she's holding up a Dahmer book, which is one of my comics. It's in Serial Mom. It's in The Salton Sea. It's in Scream 2. Because the kid that knew all the rules to the horror movies, his college dorm was decorated with all kinds of different horror stuff. And they had my comics on the walls. But unfortunately, the way they shot it, you can't see any of that. You know, you can't see it because they just showed him on the TV screen. But they call you up, they say, hey, we want to put your product in this feature or this television show. And you go, okay, send me the release form, and you sign it and you send it back. I mean, I'm a professional. I've been working in the entertainment business for over 30 years. That's how this is done. And so they didn't even bother with that. I don't understand why they didn't just do that. It's easy. And if they needed extra copies of books, a lot of times in productions, you know, if they needed a couple copies, I just sold them to them. You know, here, buy the book. There you go. You know?
Yeah.
It's really cool when you see your stuff in a movie.
To be part of the culture.
Like in The Salton Sea, it's a revenge film with Val Kilmer, and Vincent D'Onofrio is really good in it as a crazy meth dealer that's had his nose rotted off. The bad guys, they're all meth heads, so their shoot house, the whole wall is covered with my comic books. The art department got my books, they blew up the pages to like 11 by 17 and wallpapered the entire wall with the artwork from my books. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That. So what's the thrust of the interview and how you handle your show? Because I haven't had a chance to listen to it.
So it's basically we just sit down with people and get their individual horror stories. Your brushes with the supernatural, the unknown, true crime. Yeah, who better, right? Because, I mean, you've got some accolades, man. And do you prefer to be pronounced as a Hart D Fisher or just Hart Fisher?
Hart D Fisher works. Either one. I'm cool.
Because that's kind of the
either
pen
one.
name, right? That's the full title people would know you by.
Yeah, that's the full title. Hart D Fisher's American Horrors. Hart D Fisher's Bill the Bull Omnibus. Because we realized as we were doing the Kickstarter stuff and we started examining this, and I'm asking Billy Tucci and my friends in the business like Dan Fraga and other folks, especially Billy's wife, Deb, really helped me out with information on how do I do this. And Max DeVille from Atrocity Press, they really walked me through the process. And in doing it, we learned that my name is more famous than my characters. And we learned that the brand of Hart Fisher was bigger than the brand of, like, let's say, Bill the Bull. I always thought it was kind of egotistical. You used to see like people put, Everett Hartso's razor. And it's like, it's just a chick with blades on her wrist. You didn't invent James Bond, brother. You didn't make anything that great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a cult of personality definitely helps the brand.
Yeah, so I realized over time, like at one point when we were doing comics and there were so many protest marches and all kinds of stuff happening with my work and banning and all that kind of stuff. Like people think cancel culture's new. Like, guys, PMRC, the Communist Blacklist, it's all the same crap.
Just a trendy name and a hashtag attached to it now.
That's exactly what it is. So we realized that, you have to put your name on this, Hart. You have to tell people this is yours. You have to, And once we did that, it was like, wow, holy shit. I'm a brand? Holy shit, I'm a fucking Nike swoosh? What the fuck? Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, it is. It's cool.
All right. When I mentioned Boneyard Press, I'd throw out some names like Glenn Danzig and, the pre-Umbrella Academy, Gerard Way. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, I discovered Gerard. Plus, when we get into the haunted house of Los Angeles, that's the house that Billie Eilish grew up next door to.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm her first director. They haven't put it in her Wikipedia because they're kind of afraid of what I might tell the public. When I mean next door, the houses are right next door. If you want to see how close these buildings are, go onto YouTube and look up Hart Fisher on the Verminators, Part 1 and Part 2. And we were on this TV show on the Discovery Channel, The Verminators, and we had a huge rat infestation. So her house and my house were like right next to each other, and they were craftsman homes. So the windows are casement windows, and they wrap all the way around the house. And these houses were ancient. They're like from the 20s, the 1920s. They didn't hold sound at all. So I could hear everything going on in their house. They could hear everything going on in my house. And what's going on at my house? I launched American Horrors from that house. I shot horror movies in that house. I got killed with a brick on the front lawn in The Orphan Killer 2, Bound by Blood. In the backyard, I shot people getting stabbed,
So she'll look up from her dollies and just see the craziest things in the world happening right outside the window.
Yeah. And I shot in the garage right behind her house, and she's in the opening credits for the original American Horrors television series that we launched everything with in 2008. She's in it. We shot in her backyard, her and her little girlfriends. We used them as like creepy killer kids. And then a year later, I put her into a music video where she plays death. A woman gets roofied and raped and dies from a drug overdose, and she's deaf. And I also helped promote her brother's band, Phineas. He had a band in high school called Hollow Point Eyes. And then there was some school shootings, and his mom didn't like that her son's band was called Hollow Point Eyes, so she had him change it to the Slightlies, which I thought was a terrible fucking name. Hollow Point Eyes was a really good
Hollow
name.
Point Eyes sticks with you.
And the band's good. I mean, you could see Finney has a way with language. Their lyrics are tight. Their lyrics are solid.
Well, he helps ghostwrite a lot of her stuff, right? I've listened to some of his solo stuff, and it's good. It's very experimental.
They work together. And so they were always musical. So I used to always hear them playing and singing. And they used to hear everything coming out of my house. It was horror films nonstop, dude. Horror films, Rollins Band, Danzig, Slayer. And we shot all the original American Horrors television shows in that house. And so I tried to include my neighbors. If there was a way for me to include a friend's kids or something into the production, I always did. I'm actually pretty good at directing children. You wouldn't think of it, but I taught swim lessons to kids. I was a lifeguard. I taught Taekwondo. I've been in a position to teach quite a bit. And so Billie had a powerful presence as a child. Her eyes would look right through the damn camera. And her voice is really, she's got an amazing voice. And they were homeschooled. and I worked from home with American Horror. So we were around each other all the time. You know, I saw these, and the neighborhood was dangerous. It was a dangerous neighborhood, very gang infested neighborhood. You always kind of had your head on a swivel for the kids. There was a carload of gangbangers got into a gunfight like the fucking A-Team and crashed in my neighbor's front yard while I watched. It was like fucking ba-boom, ba-boom. So if you want some spooky stories, we should probably get into it.
From the dawn of the spoken word, storytelling has been the backbone of human culture, warning of looming dangers and evoking our most personal fears. What you're about to hear are the real-life experiences of everyday people, brave enough to share their terrifying tales. Tales where the horror hits close to home. I'm your host, Danny. Welcome to the Hometown Horrors Podcast. Listen, if you dare. Howdy, folks. We are Spooky Show HHP, and as you may have heard, our guest today has an impressive number of feathers in his cap. He's worked almost every job under the sun, but in the world of horror entertainment, you may know him best as a writer, actor, director, illustrator, or radio host. He founded the American Horrors Film Festival and the Boneyard Press, which is most infamous for the comic Jeffrey Dahmer, an unauthorized autobiography. Give it up for the man, the myth, the icon, Hart D. Fisher.
Good to be here.
I may have to redub that by myself later, but you know.
Oh, it's fine. I'm a director, and that's half the fun for me when I'm shooting American Horrors promos. I always put the fuck-ups into the shout-outs. You know, hey, we're so-and-so in Lake Geneva, and
yeah, it sounds a little
American
stranger,
Horror.
you know? Like Stanley Kubrick used to make everyone do the scenes 50 times just so they'd get stranger and stranger and stranger.
I'm not a big fan of Kubrick's method like that, and I'm not a big fan of Eastwood's one take and done. I like it a little in the middle. And sometimes, you know, every actor is different. That's another thing is people don't think of me as a director, but I'm a director.
Yeah.
And my first film, The Garbage Man, is a very dark, critically acclaimed film about a black serial killer. And it's a lot like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, or another movie that I think would be close to Peter Green in Clean Shaven. So I directed that. I've directed a ton of music videos. I worked for many years as an editor. That was a lot of fun. I got to edit with like Danzig. Me and Glenn have worked together for about 30 years. We've known each other, and I've been lucky enough to call him a friend. He's hired me, fired me, and rehired me. You know what I mean? And so I've had a lot of really good working experiences with Glenn and gotten to do a lot of cool projects. And I was his personal editor for a while, and I got to cut a bunch of his projects. It was a lot of fun, and it was a good learning experience because Glenn does know a lot about film. Now, I know his features haven't gotten the biggest critical acclaim, and I know he had a problem at Riot Fest when they premiered, I think it was Veronica. But I haven't seen the films. I haven't seen his movies. I just know from working with him, he's got a good eye. And then like Gerard Way, well, for me, he was Gary. So Gerard was a 15-year-old kid from New Jersey, and I thought he had real talent. He was a very good writer. And, you know, I used to speak with his mom. He had a problem with getting bullied at school. I'd be talking to his mom about what can we do to try to help with this bullying situation. And I was bullied a lot as a kid. You know, I'm a victim of violence. People look at me and think, oh, you're the toughest guy, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, I've been sexually assaulted and battered in the middle of a bar in the middle of the day from some drunk woman LSD dealer who was fucked up.
Jesus.
I've had some weird, crazy shit happen. And Gary, I got him on to the Sally Jesse Raphael show with me. That video just surfaced recently, so I think that's online. I know it's up in Reddit, and it's where he's identifying himself in the audience as a writer for Boneyard Press, and he's defending my right to publish the Jeffrey Dahmer book. And I found it interesting in all the articles about this. They phrased it as Gerard Way defends comics from censorship. And they leave out that he's specifically defending my right to publish the Jeffrey Dahmer biography, and that the book isn't the nasty thing they're trying to present it as. The Jeffrey Dahmer biography book, ladies and gentlemen at home, it's tame. It's a good book. It's a good read, but it's tame. It is nothing that you've been sold. But Dahmer versus Christ and Dahmer Zombie Squad are off the fucking chain insane. Oh my God.
Well, it's probably harder to defend your property when Evan Peters isn't attached to it.
Yeah, it was a thing where I got sued by the victims' families over the Dahmer book. They were looking to set a legal precedent by suing a smaller publisher. And they picked the wrong fucking guy. They thought I'd just be some dumb rocker and have no idea that I'm highly educated. My parents are highly educated and motivated and involved in my life, or they were when they were alive. And I had a good group of people behind me and a lot of good legal advice. And I made sure that what I did wasn't illegal, wasn't in poor taste. It was so tame. And they got this big, blue-eyed, blonde-haired white guy that, well, what's Jeffrey Dahmer look like? Blonde-haired, white. And, the victims' families came after me and they were mad. They were furious. I don't blame them. My girlfriend was raped and murdered in the middle of this whole controversy. So in the middle of making my film, The Garbage Man, my girlfriend was raped and murdered by a guy who was a lot like the killer in my movie, a young black male who had robbed the hotel where she was at like 10 days before and shot somebody in the parking lot. So I was already in the middle of all this terrible violence and dealing with all the consequences and the trials. There were 3 different murder trials. The guy almost walked. He almost went free because he roughed her up. So the defense was that she was into rough sex and he was the guy on the side, and they turned it into a whole sex crime trial. And so the news loved that. They loved that. And they're like, oh, remember the author of the Jeffrey Dahmer comic? Well, now he knows what it's like to lose a loved one.
God, media is really just soulless, man.
It is absolutely soulless because I'm just like, this is a 20-year-old girl. What did she do to deserve to be raped and murdered? What, she dated a guy who did a comic book about a serial killer. Does that mean she deserves to die? That's
anything
insane.
For a story.
And they bought and sold the story any way they could, because at one point during the lawsuit where they were suing me, and the lawsuit was completely frivolous. It was utter bullshit. But I'd just gotten out of college, right? Just gotten out of college with a degree in art. I was training for my black belt in Taekwondo, and I was a bouncer at a local bar. I didn't have money for lawyers and stuff. I didn't expect all this stuff to happen with this book,
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, when this book blew up, I'd already been involved in litigation with Marvel Comics, and I beat them in court.
So they really didn't do their research, figure out who they're messing with.
It was a whole copyright and trademark infringement thing where they had it involved the Hells Angels motorcycle gang. I'm going to make this very short. Hells Angels motorcycle gang. There was a book called Hells Angel. Marvel was putting it out, Marvel UK. And the gang saw this and they had trademarked their name. So they sued Marvel. They won. They changed the title from Hell's Angel to Dark Angel, which is the book that I launched Boneyard Press with. The first comic Boneyard ever published was Dark Angel. And that was in May of 1991. That's when it hit the stands. And it had the first Dark Angel story in it. And it had the first publicly, released through the comic stores, Bill the Bull story. It all kind of was funny because my friends were the publishers of Faust by Tim Vigil and David Quinn, which is a groundbreaking splatterpunk comic book that was just unreal and fantastic too, by the way. My hat's off to Dave and Tim. They were really amazing with this book, Faust. So I had already been dealing with a lot of legal stuff because of the copyright and trademark issue with Marvel, and I eventually triumphed. They did infringe on my trademark, and they did end up having to cancel their book. And the Hells Angels motorcycle gang helped me. They put me in touch with their lawyer. Growing up on the south side of Chicago, you run into a lot of people. So I knew 1%ers from the south side that you would know. And you also knew, watch yourself around these fucking guys.
Yeah.
You can get hurt.
Yeah.
So they eventually set me up and got me the phone number of the lawyer for the Angels that did this, that handled the lawsuit. And he walked me through what to do. Didn't charge me anything. And then I got a lawyer in Champaign-Urbana, and I went and sued Marvel. I sent them, legal notifications about this. I didn't actually sue them. I just was like, hey, you can't keep infringing on my trademark. So I'd already won at that before the Dahmer thing blew up. Actually, I won right when the Dahmer thing was starting to blow up.
And that just gave you the experience you needed for the next controversy.
Yeah, right? Jesus. Yeah, it did. And it just got crazier and crazier. The protest march on my house was nuts. My house getting robbed. The media said, hey, Hart Fisher's out of town at a Fangoria horror convention. So why don't you go to his house and rob it?
Yeah, throw a brick through the window, piss on the floor.
Oh, they robbed Hart Fisher's house. Well, let's get you footage before he even gets back from Los Angeles. So, like, there was footage of my house broken into and my clothes strewn down the front door and down the porch and through the driveway. And that's all on the news before I even got back from L.A.
Imagine seeing your house robbed on TV before you get there.
Yeah, right? Like the result of it. And, I was at Fangoria Horror Convention. And your name is announced over would Hart Fisher come to the lobby or the convention booth? And it is surreal. And then my house has been robbed? Fucking what?
Yeah. How do you even process that?
It is a weird thing to process. And I was very fortunate that I had renter's insurance.
Yeah, say the least.
Very fortunate. And so my experience and my dealings with the mass media are very wary. And it's why I could say with certainty, especially when 2020 hit, ladies and gentlemen, they're all lying to you. They're lying to you. They're lying to you. The mass media is lying to you. They're lying through their fucking teeth. Operation Mockingbird is in full fucking effect. They're lying to you. You cannot believe what you see on the media. You can't. You cannot trust what's on mainstream television. They are owned by Big Pharma and the big corporations. They are not going to report on anything that is going to hurt their bottom line. And they're liars. They're bald-faced.
And in case I haven't
liars.
mentioned it, liars.
Mm-hmm. Here's an example. CNN headline news came out to do a thing with me, and it was for a documentary called Murder by Numbers. And the crew came out, and I thought, this is going pretty good. I've got this intelligent group of people here. They're asking me very smart questions. Wow, this might actually work out. No, when the fucking thing comes out, I'm like horrified at how manipulative they were.
Spun it all around on you.
They did what they did that's so disingenuous that the news does all the time. And I learned this is why politicians talk the way they talk, to make it hard to distort their statement. So these disingenuous assholes, these lying CNN pricks, lying motherfuckers, they took the answers to one question
and then posted them over
them.
Another one.
Correct. They mismatched them. They moved the answer from one question to a different question to make it more sensational.
Hart, do you know Satan? Well, we've been good friends for many years.
Yeah, right?
Horrible. Yeah.
I've got a lot of experience with satanic cults and witches and warlocks and all that kind of stuff.
And it's just part of the genre, you get to know people.
Sure. Well, I know Lucian, who helped get the Baphomet up on the...
Lucian Graves?
Court. Yeah, I know Lucian.
Oh, wow.
I knew the LeVays, different satanic churches and different satanic cults have consistently wanted me to join up with them. Same with the Masons. The Masons have been trying to recruit me for many, many years. And I'm uninterested I'm like Groucho Marx. I don't want to be a part of any organization that would have me. I'm not a big fan of swearing allegiance to somebody else's goals over your own personal life and your personal loves and your people.
And that's probably what makes you the belle of the ball for these people.
It might be. And I've had a lot of these guys. I used to have a radio show. It was Heart Attack Radio. And so I'd have them on the show. So I had Lucian on and we talked. I had another gentleman who was from the Army. A lot of people don't know, but in the military, there's a big wing of Satanism. There's a lot of Satanism in the military, and even goes back to some of the heads of MK Ultra and the CIA and Pentagon PSYOPs. One of them was the head of the Church of Satan. It's just a simple fact of history.
Are you able to... what was the name?
His name, God, I'd have to look that one up. But he was out, and he'd be on talk shows and stuff. This guy's easy to look up. What's this guy's name? Let me take a look here. I'm looking it up. Here we go. His name is Michael Aquino. Aquino.
Yeah, here we go. Military Officer Michael Aquino.
And I quote, "The advantage of mind war is that it conducts wars in non-lethal, non-injurious, and non-destructive ways. Essentially, you overwhelm your enemy with argument. You seize control of all of the means by which his government and populace process information to make up their minds, and you adjust it so that those minds are made up as you desire. Everyone is happy. No one gets hurt or killed, and nothing is destroyed."
You know what's really interesting about this guy?
Doesn't that sound just like what happened during the lockdown?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you get him on the image search, his eyebrows go up into little horns. It's creepy. But he's got this cherubic angel face.
He fits the part. He fits the part of satanic warlock. So I do walk in interesting circles, and I like it. You know, I'm interested. I also have a lot of very deeply religious friends in the other side of the equation, and I've explored a lot of religion with them and talked to them about the Torah and talked to them about their various beliefs. I find it interesting.
And religion as a study is fascinating.
It is. And if you're going to be a writer, if you're going to be a real writer and you want to be good, then you need to keep feeding your head. And that's kind of what I've been doing my entire life and career. I'm a voracious reader, and I get out a lot. And working with people like Danzig and stuff and living in a haunted house.
You got no shortage of stories, man.
None. I've dealt with the Mexican mafia. I almost got killed. Gunfights happening out in front of my house in the middle of the day, you know, a Homeland Security raiding the house across the street. And this is probably something that, I don't know if Billie wants this out there. Billie and her mother were in the middle of this raid.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I could see why her handlers would be worried about anybody talking to me.
Yeah, I might cut that little part out, you know.
No, you go ahead. Put that in there. Fuck it. It's life. It's what happened. It's the truth. Now, I don't give a shit about the perfume they're selling. Now, the stuff I won't tell, the stuff I'll keep to myself is the private stuff. You know, you got to protect the privacy of the kid. And you can tell a couple of funny fucking stories, you know, like getting caught in the middle of a Homeland Security raid.
Just everyday stuff.
Which is pretty damn good. My friends and I were joking. They're like, Hart, you need to do a comic book called Growing Up Eilish. And just have all funny stories about the family next door, because, you know, it's a family, and I knew them, and we were around, and you kind of had to look out for each other because the neighborhood was bad.
And people probably really want to hear the human side of her celebrity.
Yeah, well, people are always hungry for that stuff. They want to know it all. When you're around entertainers and when you're in the entertainment business, what I try to tell people is, if you want to have a career, you better hold your fucking water. Meaning you better maintain the confidences of the people you're dealing with. Like, I'm friends with Glenn for a reason, because he knows I'll keep my fucking mouth shut about some stuff.
Yeah, there's being a friend, and then there's being like a scavenger for any information that anyone can use in turn.
So you kind of learn as you navigate, and then you're doing this radio show. So a lot of times what I've done when I was a radio host, and I dealt with a lot of dynamite topics. We dealt with a lot of corporate malfeasance and exposing lies and exposing corruption. So off the air, before we got on, before we recorded anything, we had to have a conversation like, what can I discuss, what I should stay away from? Because you got to be a pro. You can't just attack them. You can't just throw them under the bus. Jesus. There's no fucking future in that.
It's a flash in the pan, too. You're just killing the goose for one golden egg.
Yeah, and man, I could write one hell of a fucking tell-all book. And I've worked on a couple of them with people. I was working with a gentleman from Chicago who is a high-ranking member of the Gaylords, which is a heavy-duty street gang in Chicago. And they're heavy. I mean, Jesus, if your name is the Gaylords, you better be badasses to have that name.
Exactly.
And they are bad motherfuckers. Do not fuck with these guys. So I was working for years with this gentleman about a tell-all book. But eventually, a lot of times when people start working on these books, about halfway through, they start to get nervous.
Yeah, are these things we should really be divulging? How will our life change after it's out? Your life is staggering, man. I'm just trying to wrap my head around some of these stories, and it's you've lived it, man. You've lived a dream. You've had a life. When
I worked for Vivid, in adult, it's a lot more professional than people think, and then it's also just as sleazy as people think. So there are people that are out there, and they'll be a contract girl, and they'll do what they call as a private, which means they consider it just doing a scene. They don't consider it hooking. They consider it doing a private scene, right? So I knew one of the guys that had been pimping them around, a lot of the executives through Hollywood, and he was interested in doing a tell-all book. And so we got into that project, and, you know, about a third of the way in, he got cold feet. And you got to keep that shit to yourself. If you don't have the person who can corroborate, you really shouldn't be throwing these stories around. So you just end up keeping it to yourself, especially if it involves any kind of crime stuff. Anything involving crime, definitely. You know, and the area in LA that we were at, I lived at 911.
Really?
That was my address, 911.
The synchronicity.
Yeah, it's fucking funny. And I found out that the people who lived in the house before me was a crazy gang. And apparently somebody had been shot in the house. I don't know if anybody had died in the house, but somebody had been shot. And so that house, I try to say the house is haunted, but I feel like I'm the one that's haunted because everywhere I go, I still deal with this stuff. I haven't really been dealing with that in this new place I'm at, where I'm living right now. I haven't really had any presences or felt any energies. No doors have opened on their own, because that would happen at the house in LA, the Highland Park house.
Yeah, it's hard to nail that down because it's either you bring something you have to a place or the place brings that and attaches it to you, so you have it for a while. So maybe things will start happening, or maybe there's just nothing at the house to trigger whatever's attached to you.
My house that I grew up in, Blue Island in Chicago, it was haunted. And there were certain parts of the house that scared the shit out of me. And things happened. So it's my brother and I and our babysitter, Elizabeth. And we're watching this TV show. And that's on the first floor, and the bedrooms are up on the second floor. So we're just sitting here, and the TV room happened to be kind of under where the master bedroom is, my mother's room, my father's room. And so we're sitting there and we're watching TV, and there was this giant crash right above us. And it sounded like somebody had tilted over a armoire filled with dishes. We were like, holy shit. We jumped and we all ran upstairs. And nothing had fallen. There was nothing on the floor. There was not one damn thing that could have made that noise. You felt the shake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The impact. You felt it. That's part of what scared the crap out of us. And that happened a couple of times in that place. That same kind of like, boom. Yeah.
And were you upstairs at any point when that happened?
No, it only happened when we're downstairs. And the dog was with us. The dog wasn't upstairs. We had a German Shepherd, Pepper. It couldn't have been the dog to make the noise. The dog jumped too. Oh, what the fuck was that? And so living in LA, I lived in the valley for a little while, and I had a house with a pool, and I didn't really feel anything there. But this place in Highland Park, the doors were heavy, right? This is an old house. So the doors were solid wood. And when you went to shut them, you kind of had to lift it up, get it to latch, and then set it down. And that's how you had to open it too. And these were not light doors. These were fucking heavy. I was walking into the bedroom at night, and I shut the door behind me, and I've got PTSD. I've got post-traumatic stress disorder. So I have a thing with hypervigilance. So I'm keenly aware of what's going on. And I've had my house broken into while I've been home. So this door, I had latched it. I'm going to sleep. Without making a sound, it opened all the way up on its own. Normally it's like a ka-chunk, ka-tonk, ka-tink, ka-tonk to get the door to open or shut. It's noisy. It didn't make a fucking sound. And it swung open right behind me. I had just made sure it was shut. And in this house, we had our offices in the back of the house. And in the front of the house was like the living room, the TV, and stereo, and a fireplace. You'd be working in the back of the house, and my back was to the door, which is bad feng shui, I know. But my back would be the door, and I'd hear my name, and it would sound like it was my wife calling my name. Hart, clear as day. And you turn around, there's nobody there. And you walk up to the front room, and you go, and my wife's name was Waka. I'm like, hey, Waka, did you need anything, honey? Did you need something from me? No. Did you just call my name? No, I've been up here for the last 20 minutes. And the same thing would happen to her. She'd be somewhere in the house, and she'd hear her name called. And it sounded like it was me, and clear as a bell. She'd turn around and be like, there's nobody there. And she'd come find me. Were you just in the office with me? No, babe, I've been reading comic books on the couch, drinking lemonade.
Was there ever an occurrence where you both heard a name at the same time?
Yeah. Yep. And things would move. Things are always disappearing, like your car keys. When you had a big meeting, all of a sudden your car keys are gone.
Those assholes.
And then when they show up, they fucking show up right where it's obvious, like right obvious.
Where you would have very likely set them, yeah.
Yeah, and that was really happening a lot at my house here in Wisconsin, because I moved from Los Angeles to Wisconsin to help my wife's health. She was suffering from health issues. So we wanted to get out of the pollution of LA.
Get away from it all, yeah.
Yeah, get away and get her some clean air, clean water, live by the water, because she grew up in Japan by the sea. So this house in Williams Bay, it was weird because my shit would disappear all the fucking time. And my friends would help me look for it. They'd be helping me look for stuff. A couple days would go by, and the thing you're looking for, it's in the middle of the kitchen table. An example would be my smartphone. A buddy of mine gave me his dad's Weber grill that had a nice, like, silver countertop around the Weber. And I had just recently cleaned it, and I lived by Lake Geneva. So I'm right by a massive lake that has 2 ley lines that connect in the middle of the lake. And in this house, I lived right next to a spring. So I had a natural like spring creek behind my property. And when I first moved in, it was nasty. No joke. I pulled like 200 pounds of crap out of it.
Whoa.
Car headlight, broken glass, old sewer pipe, rusty nails, old boards, a lot of just crap. And kids play. There's all these kids that play in the neighborhood around there, especially they like to run around there at night. The parents are all hanging out, you know, because this is a getaway for a lot of the people in Chicago.
Yeah.
And man, this house, everything seemed to happen revolving around that spring. So my phone disappeared. And me and my buddy Trike, who runs the local comic book store here in town, Comic Alley in downtown Lake Geneva. Get your comics at Comic Alley.
Shouts to Comic Alley.
Shouts to Comic Alley. So Trike is trying to help me out. And the joke is he's my Hobbit and I'm young Gandalf. I'm a bit of a wizard. So my Hobbit and I are running around trying to find this fucking thing. And we're looking everywhere. A couple days goes by. We're out in the backyard and we look. Son of a bitch. The smartphone is right there in plain view on this silver countertop that I had cleaned. And now my phone's there. But we looked there. Trike and I both, we were standing around it and looking right at it, and there was nothing there. And so not only was the smartphone show up there, it had a little ring around it from the baking soda.
Yeah, whatever residue is on the table.
And another one was my car keys. And a lot of times these things would happen when like I shouldn't be driving anywhere. And so my keys disappeared for a while, and we were in the garage and we're moving boxes. You know, when you're moving a box and you're carrying it and you're walking, like I got all these comic books. So I'm moving these boxes and you look down. You're looking down to make sure you don't trip and fucking fall on anything.
Exactly.
And I'm on trip number 3, and all of a sudden the keys are right there where I just walked. I just walked over it 2 other trips, and now they're there. And they weren't there the other 2 trips. And we went bananas looking for them for a couple days. And the funniest thing is when Trike came in, I'm like, Trike, get in here! Get in here! Dude, look, the fucking keys. The fucking keys are right there. I just walked over that spot 3 other fucking times, dude. They're right fucking there, dude. And Trike's like, no fucking way. I put my head on the cement floor to look under your car where those keys are.
Dude, someone's playing hide and go seek with you.
It was a regular thing, dude. It was all the time. And I'm talking to my friends here sitting with me. I'm like, am I telling the truth, guys? Yeah, they're all nodding their fucking heads.
Thumbs up.
They're all like, I've never seen anything like this until I hung out with you.
Now, living with your wife, did she ever have experiences before meeting you or being with you?
Well, she was Japanese from Japan, like not American. And she grew up by the sea. And I think Japan's a magical place. I really do. I've been there many times. I think there's an interesting spirit to the people in Japan. I really like it. I really loved my wife. And they had a lot of beliefs. Like, here's an example. You ever heard of yokai? Y-O-K-A-I?
I have, but I can't picture what it is at the moment.
Well, it's monsters. It's all monsters. And so there's specific like river monsters. There's, you know, like when you watch Ringu and you see the ring and you go, why is that girl's hair straight down like that? Because in Japanese culture, the only way a woman could get revenge is from the grave, because women were kind of treated pretty poorly. You know, they were not considered the same as men.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, the Japanese didn't even have a word for rape. Didn't have a word for rape. That's crazy. They grew up with all this mythology about these different monsters that could get you, especially by the water. Lots of stuff by the water. So we're out here in Lake Geneva, and the lake is one of the cleanest lakes in the country. It is absolutely beautiful. But there are some crazy energies flying around this water, because most people forget that water stores energy. Water is a battery, stores a lot of energy. And this place was a hangout for the mob, you know, lots of mafia stuff going on up here. And there's a lake path that you walk around. And it's really beautiful to be able to walk around the lake. And we're walking around and we're going over here. And there's one particular bit that I felt something odd, but Waka wouldn't fucking go near that bridge. She would not walk over it. She's like, okay, I'm done. We're going to go back. And I'm like, what's up? She's like, no, I don't like that space. No, we're done. We're out. And she did that a couple times, walking the dog at night. I like to go out on the docks and look at the water. I'm a night person, so we're out walking our dog, and I'm out on the dock at night. She would not get on that fucking dock. She refused. There was a couple times where she did that. She's just like, no, I'm not going out there. I feel something. I don't like it. So a couple years go by, and this is after her death. So after she passes away, it's like March or April. I'm going to say March of 2018. And some friends of mine wanted to go out and do some super slow photography and some infrared photography to try to capture spirit energy. And we went out to this place that's a Christian getaway, and it's the lake path where she did not want to go out on this bridge. And it is creepy. There's a little overhang over it. There's a little bit of trickle of water, and there looks like there's a little door to a sex dungeon in this house, and the house doesn't look quite right. And we're out there that night, and somebody had jammed a board in the middle of this little footpath bridge over the water, like jammed it into the bridge, so it was sticking straight up in the middle, so you can't walk past it. And as we're taking our pictures, right by that bridge and down in the water, and this is March, it's fucking cold here. There's no way there's a person down there, but something was down there and it was making a noise like two rocks clicking together. Clack, 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 clack. And none of it was rhythmic. None of it was like water lapping. And the hair on the back of my neck was coming up. And I thought about what Waka had talked about with the yokai and the river monsters. And I had a bad fucking feeling this noise was coming from where there shouldn't be a noise. It's too fucking cold. There's no person standing there in the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the wintertime, so there's no animals around. There's no footsteps around. Nothing in the snow. It's freezing out. My inner voice just kept telling me, don't turn your fucking back on that. And I kept the guys away. I'm like, hey, JC, don't go over there. My film crew for American Horrors that I assembled here in Wisconsin. And I had just a horrible feeling every time I turned my back on that spot. And the noises with the rocks clacking, I couldn't figure out what the fuck is making that noise. And as we were leaving and I turned my back, I literally felt something. You know, you feel like someone's behind you. I turned around. I'm like, you get the fuck away from me, motherfucker. You get the fuck away from me. Nothing was there. It was so supremely creepy. And I went back there during the daytime the next day to look to see what could be making that fucking noise. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it out at all. And in this house in Williams Bay, that kind of thing would happen. You'd hear weird noises. For us, it was knocks. You'd hear 3 knocks behind you. It even happened with one of my Iraq war veteran friends who was staying with me. And it happened to him in the guest room where he kept hearing these 3 knocks, knock, 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 behind him.
I actually have a 3 knock story too. I was reading a book at the time called John Dies at the End. That's a
great movie too.
Yeah. Paul Giamatti killed it.
So good.
I love that series.
I didn't even know that was a book. I should read that.
Oh, there are 4 of them in the series now. The most recent one just came out this year. You've got to check it out, man. I love the movie, but the books are better. But when this was happening, I was maybe a decade younger, in my early 20s. My parents have a family up in New York, and they would go to visit in the summer. So I'd be home alone with the dog. So one night, I get home from work. It's maybe 9:30. I read a little bit of the book. I'm reading through it for the first time. And I'm settling down the bed with our little pug and fall asleep. I wake up in the middle of the night. It's a very anxious wake up. I don't know if I had a bad dream. I don't quite remember, but I had to get up and walk around the house, check the doors, check the windows, just for my own personal sense of security. The little pug, she's following me around. She's looking up at me like, I don't need to go out. Like, what are we doing? What's the motivation in this scene, boss? So we get back upstairs. We lay in the bed. And when I was reading the book earlier, it was a scene where the 2 characters are going through a haunted house. And the main character, who's the skeptic, is saying to himself, they don't haunt houses, they haunt minds. Just because, like, whatever is in the house, it's not attached to the building. It's looking for a vehicle to attach itself to, the person.
And the person is the energy source.
Exactly. So I'm laying down to go to sleep. I just close my eyes and 3 huge knocks on my bedroom door. I look up. I'm like, holy shit. And the pug only stirs to look at me. And that line plays back in my head. They don't haunt houses. They haunt minds.
They don't haunt houses. They haunt minds. That's good.
It really is.
That's good.
And it just proves that my pug is nowhere as good as your German Shepherd, who's with you the whole time.
Oh, that was the south side of Chicago, brother.
Highly trained, right?
Yeah. Award-winning German Shepherd, purebred, all that kind of stuff. Totally trained. My dad was into that. So getting back to that knock thing, that was a thing for sure with us. And at this house in Williams Bay, in the first floor, it's like a walk-up. So like the first floor is like a basement / first floor. and attached garage, and then the second floor is your kitchens and all that stuff. That house had so much weird energy, especially my wife was dying. She went out bad. Colon cancer is painful. She had severe anemia. It was a bad way to go. It was a bad scene. And the energies I felt that were gathered around were sucking off that pain. And we all felt like there was something underneath the stairs from the basement up, and it had a closet door, and that's where the water came in. And you'd come in and you'd walk in from the garage and you'd walk through the basement or first floor, and we made that our studio for American Horrors. And you walk by and then you go up the stairs to go up to the next floor. And on the landing, the mud room right by the front door, it smelled diapers. It was the oddest thing. And it always felt like there was something under those stairs, kind of like Amityville Horror. And after my wife's passing and I started dating again, my lovers all were seeing things while we were having sex.
Wow.
They were seeing a shadow cross in front of the TV set, peek around the corner watching us. And it normally seemed to happen when I was busy eating their pussies. I'm munching box, I'm focused. And my back is to the room where we normally would play, you get me? And it wasn't just one girl. Every girl I brought home and played with saw something, every one of them, and would mention to me later. None of them were like, oh my God, I got so scared. They'd say like, oh, I thought somebody was peeking around the corner watching us. I saw a shadowy shape right there. And sometimes they felt like, oh, I just thought it was the ghost of your wife because my wife was Japanese and kind of short. I didn't really feel like that was her. I don't know what that was, but a lot of people saw it. And not just during the sex. It happened at other times where people like they saw things in the house. They saw these shadow shapes moving around.
It might just be that you're just such an interesting dude that whatever's passed on is like, we're going to follow this guy around and see what he does, man. Well,
one of my friends said, Hart, you don't have a guardian angel. You got a squad.
Yeah.
Dude, you got a squad on you, bro. I have escaped death so many times, man.
One of God's own prototypes.
God. I'm talking about spinning 60-mile-an-hour car wrecks. I'm talking about bullets. I'm talking about all kinds of crazy shit I have dodged. It is unreal. I'm really, truly lucky to be alive, and I almost died as a boy, okay? So I think I have one foot in the other side. When I was a child, I was dying in the womb, and they had to do a C-section to get me out. Then when I was out, I had jaundice, and my mother had to tickle my feet to get me to eat. And then before I could walk, I'm like 10 months old, 11 months old, I bit into an electrical cord. My mother had bad period cramps, and so she had her heating pad on, and it was plugged into an extension cord. I tried to eat it. Dad's getting ready for work. Mom's in bed. I crawled in there and chomp, and it blasted off half my mouth.
Oh, my God.
It just seared off half my mouth, cauterized the wound and everything. And so I know that I rode the lightning before I could walk.
Yeah, you're a real live wire.
Live wire! Funny because I sing Bon Scott. When I go do karaoke, Bon Scott's one of my favorites to sing. And I can nail it. I can nail him.
Maybe that's why. You got the lightning in your veins.
Yeah, and so that happened. And I had to have a couple of plastic surgeries to have a mouth. And then when I was in I think it was 6th or 7th grade, I hit my chin playing Johnny Tackle with some friends. I hit my chin on a rusty sprinkler, and I got a staph infection. And the bottom of my chin swelled out like huge, like you're Dizzy Gillespie playing fucking horn. And I looked like a big bullfrog, and it was excruciatingly painful. It hurt like hell. And I spent my Christmas vacation in the hospital. And this is right when my parents were getting divorced. And no one told me this. I didn't find out till I was like 33, 34, where one day my mom was like, oh, you're supposed to die. What? Yeah, that staph infection was supposed to kill you. You were supposed to die. And I was like, that's why the whole family came to see me in the hospital, looked so grim. Yeah. And my father, he was coming to the hospital by himself. He looked like somebody nailed his balls to a cross. He just was in such depression and sadness. And I didn't know why. I didn't know I was supposed to die. No one fucking told me that, but I didn't.
Yeah, death just courts you every now and again, just to check in on
you. Yeah, it does. I skim. But I'm truly grateful for being alive, for being on this earth. I'm truly grateful for the people in my life. I'm stunned at all the amazing people that are there to help me get through this stuff. And it's funny when people are like, hey, Hart, why would you have PTSD? Motherfucker, what?
Have you been listening?
And I just thought I was crazy. I just thought I was batshit nuts. And it wasn't until I formed a friendship with a shrink. We became friends at a true crime convention in Chicago in 2015, Dr. Amy Savage. And her husband at that point in time was a Chicago homicide cop. And so we became friends. And then I moved here, and she became my shrink. She became my doctor. And that's when I was diagnosed with PTSD. And that's when she helped me learn a lot about why I am a bit the way I am. The hypervigilance and all that. I just thought that was normal for growing up in Chicago.
Well, everyone there probably has it, or PTSD. You never know.
Well, you know, they say growing up in a lot of these embattled neighborhoods is the same as a war zone. And it's like, yeah, because it is a fucking war zone.
Just
and,
not the way
Billy,
people envision it.
Yeah, and Billy and Phineas, they grew up in that. And my hat is off to their parents, to Maggie and Patrick, that they were able to engage their children and keep them safe. And so those kids weren't like just sitting in front of a TV set or just playing video games all day. I really got to hand it to them that they did make sure those kids were active and running around and having a life.
Yeah, because that's probably something a lot of the kids in that area didn't have the benefit of having.
That, or they were worried about getting stabbed to death. I'm sitting there on my front porch, and it's a Sunday afternoon, and I'm thinking, it's a nice day, pretty out. And I'm reading like the LA Weekly or something, drinking some red wines, Chianti. And I'm just thinking, what a wonderful day it is. And then I see the police cars. And what had happened? Half a block from my house, 2 boys stabbed up another boy right in the front yard with knives, right there. If I wasn't reading my paper, I probably could have seen it.
Good Lord.
And that was normal in this neighborhood.
You gotta know the fear of death. Just being around it so much probably creates a sense of urgency in you.
It creates a sense of, I have to be me, because you never know when it's over.
At all costs.
I have to live my life for myself. If you live your life for somebody else, A, you have no control over your happiness because you're living for somebody else. And you can't control somebody else's happiness. That's a fool's errand. And B, you never know when we're going to leave this world. You never know. So I'm with, there's a new thing where people are like, yeah, wear the good perfume. Yeah, do red panty night all the time.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, go out and treat yourself. Enjoy what you got. And I do. I really enjoy my relationships. And I think that's something that all the death and the destruction and all the weirdness has instilled in me, is this really hardcore, I know what's important and I know what's bullshit. You get me?
Yeah. And I feel like I've been missing a lot of that from my life, which might be one of the reasons I started the podcast. I want to get back to that sense of creating a unique relationship with people.
Mm-hmm. For all the crap, for all the bullshit, for all the like downturns, all the death, all the murder, all that crap, it's also unbelievably rewarding. I have the best relationships. I have the most amazing people in my life. And we're always challenging each other. We're always moving on up. It's why I didn't do just one martial art. I'm trained in several martial arts.
Yeah.
Because you keep learning, you keep challenging yourself, you keep challenging your body. That's part of why I started playing video games, was to form new neural pathways in my brain.
I mean, that's what it is to live. You have to experience in whatever capacity you can.
And honestly, the lovely, lovely woman I'm dating, right now, she's younger than me. She's in her 30s, and she brings a different perspective into my life. She grew up in a different generation than I did, and she didn't grow up in like the city. So it's interesting to get her viewpoint, like you're saying, to build these relationships and to get these viewpoints. It's awesome. It's what I love. It's totally what I love. And like the thing about, my Hobbit, Trike is really well known in the town because he ran the video store and he's known everybody since they were kids. So as we're running around, people are like, Hobbit? What? That's Trike. What do you mean Hobbit? What the fuck is that? And it's funny listening to some of my friends trying to explain the notion of what a Hobbit is and why is Trike the Hobbit? What's young Gandalf? Me and Trike argue about it. What do you mean young Gandalf? Gandalf is like eternal. He can't be young. I'm like, fuck you, I'm young Gandalf.
I'm young, sexy Gandalf. Get it in your head.
Yes, I am
the
young,
sexy part.
Gandalf. I got that down. But when I worked in adult films, I made sure to stay off camera.
Yeah. Helping all those girls with their OnlyFans. God bless you.
Well, in the 90s, I was a designer. I designed video boxes for Vivid, Metro, JM Productions, Max Hardcore. And Max, if he hears this, I know you just had thyroid surgery. So, buddy, I hope you're doing okay, man. I miss you.
Shouts to Max.
Oh, yeah. I've got all these lovely relationships, man. All of these amazing people. Like, people want to hate on LA, and it's like, you don't know LA. Los Angeles is filled with all these amazing people that are trying to make it. You got the best martial artists. You got the best ballerinas. You got all the rock people. You got all the artists. You got all the directors. You got all the people that want to be a model, an actress, a dancer, blah, blah, blah. And they're all competing. They're all trading up. They're all trying to be more. There's a lot of fucking cool people there, man.
I've always wanted to go. I've never been.
I mean, I'm glad I'm not there now. Believe me. During the lockdown, I was so happy I was in Wisconsin.
I mean, Wisconsin just sounds like a good place to chill, too.
Wisconsin's awesome, actually. People want to talk shit, but dude, it's fucking great. And the lake is gorgeous, and you've got access to so much. And I'm like 40 minutes out of Milwaukee. I'm not that far from Chicago. And brother, I have partied my fucking ass off. So it's not like I needed to move here for bar culture. It's kind of weird to go from being in LA for 22 years and everything is the business, entertainment, the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's something that gets lost in the human experience when you're just trying to appease this huge monster of the entertainment apparatus.
Everybody's going there for reinvention, all right? Because LA's filled with nuts and berries. Yeah, they came here from Illinois. Everybody that they talk about, LA people, they're people from other parts of the country that came there.
I don't know if it's necessarily the best of the best, but it's the people working hardest for a dream.
It's pretty cool. Like, okay, let's talk about Gokor Trevichian, all right? So I go to L.A., and my brother is a manager at a go-go bar called the Hollywood A-Go-Go in Burbank. So he becomes friends with this Armenian dude, Tony, and we find out that Tony's related to this killer judo instructor, and we had seen the UFC. This is the early 90s. And I had been a Taekwondo striking guy. And so I saw my first UFC and shit my pants. I don't have a ground game. I don't have a ground game. What the fuck are they doing? Jesus, what would I do on the ground? So we're there in LA, and all of a sudden Adam's like, hey, Hart, you should come train. We're going to go to Gokor's. He's part of Tony's family, and he's Armenian, and he's this amazing judo guy. Dude, I go to this dojo. This is Gene the Bell's unofficial son, and this guy was grabbed by our government and stolen from the Russian Soviet Olympic judo team in the 80s, and I got to live out all my martial arts fantasies and meet all these cool people in Hollywood, like I got kicked in the face by Bill Superfoot Wallace. If you've never seen A Force of One, I was never happier to get kicked in the face ever. I was never happier to get kicked in the face than I was when Bill Superfoot Wallace kicked me.
That's amazing, dude. That's like being able to smoke a joint with Snoop Dogg.
I got to have drinks with the villain from Enter the Dragon, the guy who rapes Bruce Lee's sister. God, I can't remember what his name is. Awesome. And he's a karate guy and amazing martial artist. So I'm there at Gene LaBelle's roast, and I'm having drinks, and I'm drinking with him, and I'm drinking with Henry, who's a stunt driver, but people may remember him as the Indian guy from Car Wash with Richard Pryor. And I'm drinking with, I guess, the villain from Deliverance.
Oh,
you got a mighty pretty mouth, boy. Now, why don't you just drop them pants? Take them britches right off. That guy.
Oh, bet he's a hoot to drink with.
Oh, we were having a blast, but I fit right in. There was no feeling like, what's this guy doing here drinking with? No, I fit right the fuck in. It was hilarious. It was pretty funny, and it was a lot of fun, and I got to train with Gokor. And what I mean about Gokor is he's one of the most phenomenal judo players in the entire world. He's a major legend, and he's an actual living treasure of the country of Armenia. He's considered a national treasure of the country. And that's who I got to train with and be friends with.
It's a small world, dude.
Dude, it's awesome. It's awesome. And that's how I got to be friends with Gokor, or with Gene LaBelle, and get to know all those folks. And then I got to become friends with Anne Maria DeMars, Dr. DeMars, 7th Generation Games, fantastic woman, but the world probably knows her better as the mother of Ronda Rousey.
Oh, my God. There you go. Another good name.
Well, Ronda came from Gokor's dojo because Dr. DeMars and Gok were old friends and trained forever in the 80s for the Olympic judo teams. And part of Ronda's armbar came from Gokor because Gokor taught Anne Maria the armbars. And Anne Maria was known for breaking people's arms in her competition days. It was a rough school. I got hurt there. It happens when you're playing at that high level.
Yeah.
My first night there, I broke my brother's rib. That was an accident.
But that's also part of the process, unfortunately. You're playing with fire. You might get burned.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Even if it's
That's
just how to use it
exactly
ethically.
And I say that to people when they're playing with Ouija boards because they think it's the board. It's like, no,
It's a conduit.
You said it. You are the conduit. And the practice of the board is you opening your mind to allow this other presence to operate through you. And that's the dangerous part, is you don't know what you're opening your mind to. You don't know what you're opening your spirit to. And there's no way for you to know. One of the things that drives me nuts about ghost hunting shows, when you're dealing with non-physical entities, is that thing where like, oh, well, little Emily Watson died of leukemia when she was 9 years old, and they think it's Emily running down the hallways. Fuck you, you don't know what the fuck it is. It's non-physical entity. You have no fucking clue. Could be something posing as little Emily Watson died of leukemia. It's bullshit. Even if you hear like your mom or dad's voice, it's tricky to figure out, is that my mom and dad talking to me in my head? Or is that something trying to impersonate that?
These things know how to wear the face that'll draw you in. That's a trope in almost every movie and story I've ever heard about, a Ouija board or a ghost hunting show. You think it's one thing, but when you get close enough, you're in the jaws already, and the mouth closes.
We all know that infrared exists. We all know that there's bacteria growing in your guts. We all know that the dog can hear more than you can. We know that your dog's sense of smell is stronger than your sense of sight. Can you wrap your head around that? A dog's nose has a larger world than our sight. That's crazy. Yeah. There's sounds you can't hear, and there's things that we can't smell. There's things that we cannot sense. So we in our human astronaut meat suits in this universe are limited by the instruments for sensory. And everything in this universe that we're going through right now, it's in your brain. It's a result of your brain putting together your senses. So your mind is assembling this inside this organic computer. You get what I mean?
Yeah, this hallucination. We have imperfect tools. We don't have the best sense of sight, smell, taste. We're hallucinating the universe looking through a keyhole.
Our reality is based on that simulation in our brain. And so when we go to sleep at night, a lot of times when I wake up, I feel like I'm coming back to this world, like I've been in another world. I'm a traveler, and I know that I travel when I sleep and when I dream. And I've had a lot of friends tell me, like, man, you came to me in a dream last night, Hart. I'm like, I bet I did.
The funny thing is I know exactly what you're saying, too. And when you wake up in the morning, sometimes you'll still be in that state of wherever you were, mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, we're all connected. We are all connected. Like, what is so important about the beat in music? Do you know?
Specifically, no.
I can tell you. It's because we all grew up in the womb. And in the womb, the drum beat is mom's heartbeat. And you didn't just hear it, you felt it. You felt it floating in a sack of fluid. And you don't even have a skull yet. So those vibrations of your mother's heartbeat is the drum of life. Whether she's excited or she's sad, we all came from mom.
And you can interpret the emotion through it. It's like breathing. It's
primal. It's primal. Like, okay, one of the reasons I'm very happy with this beautiful woman I'm dating, I love the cuddle. The cuddle in the bed at night. You're all cuddled up and spooning. It feels so good, so warm. Oh, my God. It's great. It's the best. You're safe. You're snug. You're in the bed. You're cuddling. You're with somebody you care about. And I could feel that energy. I could feel that warmth. I think my martial arts training has definitely affected my magical abilities, for lack of a better word, because of the focus and because when you're doing jujitsu, when you're there on the mat and you've got a guy's neck and you're doing some crazy rolling, spinning neck crank move, you have got to pay attention to your partner's body to make sure you do not injure your fellow warrior. So you develop a sensitivity, like especially with ankle locks. When you're playing with the ankle and you are messing with the ankle locks, it's 0.5 millimeter and you just shredded the guy's knee, maybe his hip, maybe now he's got to have surgery. You have to really pay attention.
It ties into your sense of hyper-awareness.
Hypervigilance.
I don't know if you ever watched the show Venture Brothers, but there's this huge bodyguard named...
I fucking love the Venture Brothers. The Venture Brothers. Yes, I fucking watched every episode at least 3 or 4 fucking 5 times. I fucking love it. I'm kind of Brock Sampson.
You kind of are.
I'm kind of Brock. I'm
Now that you say it,
bad perm. I'm very Brock.
So there's a line that Colonel Genman says about Kano. It's like, his hands are powerful enough to crush a stone, but delicate enough to crush a butterfly.
Yeah.
The way you learn how to touch the body aggressively translates into how you appreciate sensuality more.
I think so. Okay. All right. I started training doing striking arts. So I was doing Taekwondo first, which is like, how am I going to knock this motherfucker out with a kick or a punch or what have you? Again, I don't know how this happened, but throughout my career of training in the martial arts, I've been lucky enough that I've been trained by military martial artists, which is a different thing. And so being trained by, like, okay, Gokor and Gene the Bell, the stuff they're teaching you, they're called finishing moves. They're finishing moves. You execute the move and the fight's over. No one can fight no more. Hard to fight when you can't get up. And so having that sensitivity, I think it definitely has changed me as a lover, I guess, because I have a sensitivity to them. I'm aware of them in a way that I don't think other guys are.
Yeah, a lot of dudes are just kind of in for what feels good, and then they're out.
And I know how to handle the body. I know how to handle it. And then also it helps that I was a porn director.
It sure does.
Yeah, it does. They're not used to being directed. So this notion of like the sensitivity and all that kind of thing, it's really real. And what I saw with the guys that did just striking and the guys that did like the jujitsu and did the grappling, their sense of space is different than a striker. A person that's a striker, they're hurling energy. They're Thor throwing the hammer. And the jujitsu guys are much more intimate. They're much more, hey man, how are you doing? And they're going to put their arm around your shoulder and they're going to get into your space in a way that the strikers do not. I mean, honestly, you're sitting there and you're in between another man's legs.
It is intimate, whether you want it to be or not.
Whether you want it to be or not, buddy, it's intimate, bro. You're riding jock straps, pal. You're riding cups. You know, there's some moves where I've had Gene the Bell's, you know, they call it the 69 position. And they would call me out on the mat to like fucking demonstrate a technique. And so I've had Gene the Bell demonstrating some shit. And then the worst is you're in this position, this 69 position. And then he sits up like to talk to the class, but his ass is in your face. Yeah. You're lying flat on your back. You're there. You're the dummy. They're showing the move. And dude, oh my God. Is this what you thought you were going to get when you had me on your show?
It's even more than I could have ever hoped. This is amazing, man.
Yeah, it's kind of what I thought. It's good times.
Yeah, these are the connections I seek out with people. It's through the medium of scary stories, but really it's just good conversation.
And I've got tons of them. I've got a drug lord and Juarez story. That's pretty intense. Yeah, I've got a lot of these things, man. I've got a ton of them. There's so much stuff. And also stuff that happened to my friends.
Yeah, and I mean, they're certainly welcome to come on with you at some point too, man. That's also in the cards.
You should probably have Max DeVille on. You should probably have Max from Atrocity Press on to talk. He'll have some good stories. He's a really great guy. And he's a sergeant from the Army. He's an Iraq war veteran. And he's one of my good personal friends and is integral to American Horrors. And he's doing his comic book company, Atrocity Press, and they're kicking ass. So he'd be a great guy to have on the show.
I'll definitely look him up. I'll try to get him the same way I got you, through social media, Instagram, Facebook, maybe.
Well, I'll tell him. I was just talking to him earlier. I mean, my people are a team. That's the thing about American Horrors is we're a team and we're a family. And a lot of people say family. When I hear family, I fucking flinch because most families suck a dick. They're terrible.
You're not wrong.
I'm sorry. They bite a dick. They bite a fucking dick right in the head. Ah! In the house in Highland Park, there was a thing where we had a chandelier in the dining room. And it had this weird thing where like different lights would just go off. It's a chandelier. It had like 8 different lights. And you'd go and you'd screw the light in and it'd light up and you'd walk away. You'd get 5 steps away and it would fucking go off. And so one day it had been doing this so that like almost every fucking light was dead. It wouldn't turn on. And so I'm on a hero cam and Waka, my late wife, is in the shot. And I'm like, you know what? I've had it with this ghosty bullshit. All right, ghosty ghost. Hey, ghosty ghost. How about you turn this fucking light on? You want to show me something? Turn on this fucking light. And I'm pointing at a light bulb and it comes on. And I went, oh, look, it's a spooky ghost. You can turn on a light. Oh, you think you're fancy? Turn on this light. Boom, the next light comes on. Waka's giggling and smiling. I did this around the entire chandelier with me mocking whatever it was. Oh, look at that. Light number 3. Oh, my God. I think you can turn on number 4. Because my feeling about these entities is they're a reflection, and they're like the wolf. Be careful the wolf you feed. So if you feed them fear, they're going to pursue you for fear. I prefer mockery. Fuck you, ghosty ghost. Suck my dick.
But not just mockery, like fun mockery, not antagonistic mockery.
Well, I'm funny, unless I'm really mad. I've got a mean side. Believe me, I've got a really mean side to me. Fucking dark. And one of my close friends is like, Hart, there's a very serious man living in you. And I thought that was an interesting word choice. There's a very serious man living in you. He's serious, all right. Well, I was a bouncer, man. I was a bouncer, and I was the guy that if a girl needed to have a restraining order delivered, I did it. If somebody needed help getting their stuff out of the crazy meth head's apartment while they're getting out and getting clean, I walked them through. I did a lot of that stuff. You're just trying to help people out, man. And sometimes the help they need is going to take you into some dark spaces.
But it always means the world to them that you put your neck on the line for them.
And it means a lot to you, yourself. You know, every person you help, you're helping yourself. That may sound selfish, but it's kind of the truth. It's wish fulfillment. You know, you wish that somebody had been there for you when you needed that moment. And that's kind of what I have with my people around me now. I've been going through some really crazy times, and my people in my life have really been saving my ass, man. They have totally been like rescuing me. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah. I was in the hospital for a stint in my early 20s, and just the amount of love that poured out from people I never would have expected it from was crazy.
That happened when I faked my death in 1998 for April Fool's Day.
Yeah, very Ambrose Bierce of you.
I was dead for a week. I had a whole team working with me. It was 1998. It was crazy. Well, my mom and dad were in on the joke, so it was okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, if they're still around, they're probably ripping their hair out.
The important people, you know, what did my father do? When I called my dad, let him know, I left a message, and I got this message. He actually called us at work. He called the office at work where I worked at an advertising agency. And I told him that I was faking my death for April Fool's Day. So I get this message at work where my boss can hear it. What the fuck is my dumbass son doing now to get thrown in jail? We weren't faking my death for profit or nothing. It was just a gag.
Yeah, exactly. My dad, one of the funniest men I've ever met, never understands when I'm trying to make a joke. And it's one of the most infuriating things.
You must suck.
Yeah, I must. Or I must just be going over the line too much.
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching American Horrors as I record this, and there's a music video that I shot in the garage in Highland Park with this band, the Cock Diesel, and they're stabbing teddy bears with butcher knives, and this is the garage that was right behind Billy's house. This is fun. When you put this up, do you just put it up as audio, or do you put it up with video?
Only audio. We have a system where we're going to start uploading to YouTube later, and we have a GIF of the logo animation that plays in the background. But my hope is that when the podcast gets big enough, we'll do a studio thing.
Well, I kind of like it with no picture. I can relax. I can drink my Jack and Coke. I don't have to think about the visual. I can just talk to you.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for the radio and just the idea of the voice, because then we get to exist in their imagination.
And we want this to be digestible while somebody's doing something else, like maybe they're driving to work, at the gym, wherever, what have you.
Totally. This seems like a conversation that you would be listening to as you're driving a truck, or you're out on the road, you're stuck in traffic, you know, and you never know which way this fucking crazy Hart Fisher guy is going to take the fucking story.
Now they can understand how I feel. But the way we usually do it is that we sit in a room, we turn out all the lights, we light a candle, and then we usually, like, you know, maybe we have a bottle of tequila and we just kind of sit, tell stories. Well, just not being able to sit together in a room is something that's a little bit lost with just the phone call. But you're right. It is nice to not feel the pressure, the intimidation of having to produce a certain result and just being able to talk.
For myself as an actor, you know, I act. I'm not just a director. I'm not just a writer. I act in stuff. I've been in a couple of different horror films. I act in my own things. Once the visual component comes in, it activates a different part of your brain. When I'm just sitting here now and I've got my beautiful woman on my right, I've got my lovely hobbit on my left, and we're just hanging out here talking, and there's no visual component, so I could relax. I don't have to perform. If there's a camera on me, I have this from all the years. I've been hosting the American Horror Show since 2008. Hi, I'm Hart D from American Horrors. Today we're here talking on this podcast while I'm here drinking Jack and Coke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a reflex now. I've done it so many times. So for me to do just a radio show is fucking nice, man. I can relax. I can't relax if there's a camera on me.
Yeah. And that might be something I take into consideration going forward. Mm-hmm. Maybe it should just stay like a non-visual podcast.
And everybody tries to make it that, you know, like they tried to push that on me when I was doing Heart Attack Radio. And the show was all about, you know, hey, red state, blue state, it's all bullshit, guys. They're fucking us. They're fucking all of us.
Yeah, it's only rich versus poor since the beginning of time. That's all it is.
It's just, they're fucking us. They're lying to you. They're getting us to fight each other. They're manipulating us against each other. The whole design is to keep you and me and men and women fighting with each other so we can't come together and be more successful, so they could keep their status quo and feeding us poison and doing fucked up shit with our military around the world.
The devil has very soft hands.
They want us to fight with each other, and we shouldn't be fighting so much. There's not that much to fight about. We're all hungry. We all want good schools. We all want good things for our children. We are all very simple as human beings. We are all more together, and so that's why they spend so much time with social media and TV to divide us, to keep dividing us so that we're weak, so that they could walk all over us and keep their status quo and keep their positions of power and sell us bad medicine and bad food and all that crap.
And it's very simple to tell if they... I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I was just saying it's very simple to know if you're being influenced too, because if you ever have very negative feelings towards a specific person or group of people and you can't exactly articulate why, someone's got their claws in you.
Yeah, for sure. It's the same thing you said about the demons, or we haven't even talked about demonology.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the notion of demons versus just, I've been talking about non-physical entities because they have a hard time defining what I can't see.
Well, back to Japanese mythology. Demons can attach themselves to you too. It's like that episode in Venture Bros with Dr. Orpheus. He brings a Oni back with him. Or no, it's Dr. Venture that brings an Oni back with him.
You know what my wife's nickname for me was?
What's that?
Aka Oni.
Red Devil.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she meant it very affectionately.
Correct. When you talk about the notion of demonic entities attaching themselves to you, they're attacking a weak mind. They're looking for a weakness. That's why a lot of the guys that are doing this ghost hunter stuff, you better get your mind strong before you go in there. They're looking for that host. They're looking for that entry point. They're looking for that way into the world, and they need you to get there.
Yeah, I just finished a series with a group of ghost hunters, Project Paranormal. Good dudes. I went to high school with some of them.
We got a paranormal show on the network called Mission Terror, and the guys are great. The thing I would say about, like you said, Japanese, you've heard of the Suicide Forest, correct?
Yes.
All right, so I want to go. I want to go there. I want to go in there. I want to walk around. And Waka was like, you better be centered because they attach themselves and you can bring something home with you. That's what she said. You can bring something home with you.
Yeah.
Something can attach itself and come home with you that you don't really want coming home with you. And a lot of it has to do with where your brain is and your mind is. And I knew that with all the violence in my life and all the shit that was going on, I didn't think I wanted to risk myself. I'm wounded. I am wounded. I'm hurt. I'm wounded. The PTSD is real.
Yeah, I mean, when you mentioned that, my heart lurched towards you. Like, no, don't go, man. You've got a lot of stuff in your past that someone's going to try to use. It's almost like running for political office. They're running background checks on you. They're trying to find any crack in the armor.
For real. And I already deal with that because I was politically active in Los Angeles. You know, Heart Attack was a very political show, and we had a lot of good results. We were able to affect a lot of good change and stop a lot of skullduggery. And in fact, in Highland Park, the police said I was the voice of Highland Park because I spoke out for them too. You know, those guys get put in a lot of positions of bullshit, and people forget that they're handcuffed by the directions given to them by the mayor and the city council. So when you say defund the police or you want to go attack the police, you got to go for the head, you dumb fucks. You're going for the hands. You're going for the hands, you dummies, you dumb motherfuckers.
And that's just another way that people are misled into being ineffectual.
Trick. It's a trick. Like, okay, one of my training partners at GoCores was an awesome SWAT guy, and he was in charge of training all the other SWAT guys on self-defense, and he was my partner over there. And working with him was fantastic. And I asked him, I'm like, Rui, why don't the cops know more Kung Fu? How come they don't know more stuff? And he said, the city council will only let me teach them 3 moves. They're not allowed to be trained in this shit. They're not trained properly. And frankly, they're overworked. The poor guys, they're working crazy shifts, man. They really are. And the directions they're given are batshit crazy. So I really feel for these guys.
Yeah, I feel fortunate to have a few friends that are officers, because if I didn't know them, I would probably be one of these people that just hates them without knowing what it is to be a police officer on a day-to-day basis. It's a rough job.
Yeah, it's a tough job. And it's not just about, oh, why would you take that job? I'm going to say this again. If you want to enact social change, go for the fucking head, you whiny bastard.
It's from the top down.
You have to deal with the mayor and the city council and the people who create the rules for how the officers behave. So stop attacking the hand and go for the goddamn head. But that's where they confuse you. They want you mad at that guy. And hey, I got pulled over the other day for some Mickey Mouse bullshit. Did I freak the fuck out? No. You know what I mean? That was right by my bank. I'm going to make a bank deposit. I got pulled over, and I'm looking at the bank, and it's about to fucking close. I'm like, officer, please, could you please let me make my deposit? Nope, it's traffic stop. Got to stay at the car. And I'm like, But I understand their procedures and all their stuff. So, shit, fuck, God damn it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if anybody wants to talk about that whole thing with defund the police, guys, I think your real statement is demilitarize the police. You want to demilitarize them because they're civil servants and they're here to help us. It's tough. And then talking to my friends, like, okay, I said, you got to have Max on. Well, Max is a war veteran. So Max has got some stuff in his head for real. And we're buddies. We're pals. And same with my doctor. My doctor is a war veteran from Afghanistan. And then a lot of my friends growing up, I grew up with a lot of war veterans. So when you have that perspective of somebody that has dealt with this mayhem and this violence, and they come back to our namby-pamby, I really understand how hard it is to fit back in. And I feel that way. I'm just like, I can't give a fuck about your tweet. Sorry. I have no fucks to give. None. I'm dealing with real stuff. And then when I'm done dealing with real stuff, I got real friends. When we talk about the damage of my life, what has it done? It really makes me appreciate my relationship. One of the things that happened after my girlfriend Michelle was killed, it changed me in a lot of ways. And one of the biggest ones was it turned me into a cuddle monster. And for a lot of times after her death, I wasn't having sex with women for the sex. I was having sex with women for the cuddle afterwards. I needed more. I was such a damaged, hurt human being.
And something we don't give women enough credit for is that if you have a damaged soul, a woman will nurture you.
Well, a guy can too. I mean, it depends on the person.
You're right, but women just kind of step up to that instinctually. And there are certainly dudes that do that as well. But I don't have experience in that.
But my male friends have been there for me too in their own way. They're not spooning me, but they're passionate. They care. They're doing their best. Okay, I'm going to hit you with this real quick. All right, so me and Trike, the Hobbit, and Max, we're all hanging out, and Max is over at my place, and we gave Max the remote, and Max is flipping through, and Max is the war veteran. So Max is flipping through. He's like, hey, how about we watch Saving Private Ryan to see how long it takes to set off my PTSD? And me and Trike are going, no, let's not do that. No. So he turned down the movie.
Good God.
Yeah.
Let's throw some matches into this firework factory.
But that's friends. It's not testing your limits. You're playing with it in a safe area.
Yeah.
Like my mom was talking about the role of fathers versus mothers. And she talked about how, I think it was her, I could be wrong on this, but it was about how the mom is supposed to be this nurturing, mothering person. And then the father is safe, dangerous. That's the father's role. He has to be dangerous, but he's got to be safe, dangerous.
There's a really good quote from an author. We're going to go really far off track. Ichiro Oda, the dude that writes the manga One Piece, he says that he doesn't include mothers in his stories because in his mind, mothers restrict adventure. If you had like a present mother in like say a Disney movie or something, they would be keeping you at home and safe.
Dude, that was not my mother. That was not. Stay home and safe? No, that was not her.
Well, that is my mother.
My mother is
but...
Mamasaurus Rex, and all the people in my life knew her, and I brought her out to the comic conventions, and I'd come into town, and all my friends would stay at my house in Blue Island, and we'd stay with my mom, and she was like a den mother. And we're talking about like strippers and Satanists and all these crazy people. And my mom loved it. My mom loved it. She was lovely. She was a nightmare bitch from hell at times, but at the same time, she was lovely. You get what I mean? And I loved her. You know, she was, we got to be really good friends, you know, and she liked being part of the show. Chocolate. So
she's probably so tickled by that impression too.
She was actually. She was a big, happy. My mother is a big person. She's no longer with us, but she was a big woman, and her brothers are big farm boys. That's part of why I'm a big monster. And she had a great laugh, and she had a big smile, and she wanted to have fun, you know.
Yeah.
And she really emoted. So if she was upset, you fucking knew it.
But dude, it's been such a hoot talking to you, brother. We got to do it again. It would
be a kidnapping. My life is crazy, and I've got more. We got more ghosty stuff. We haven't even heard about the drug lord from Juarez.
Well, you know what? You got to leave the people wanting more.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to say, man, before we really wrap this up, you gave me the unofficial credo for my show, which is that indie horror content creators got to stick together. I mean, you found me on Facebook like within the first week of me making the page. That's amazing. Now, what a coincidence.
I'm a hunter.
You are a hunter.
I am. Like, this is the thing. This is the thing they can't censor. So all of us like talking and getting together and doing this. And I know a lot of people like, why do you want to do this? They don't have an audience. And I'm like, you never know who's going to hear that show.
Exactly.
You do not know who will hear that show. And it might even be just some 13-year-old fucking kid hears this show and it's going to change his fucking life. And that's what I've learned. I've really learned that. And I think the fact that I was Gerard Way for My Chemical Romance's mentor, and I was there for Billie Eilish and Phineas and all these other less famous creators, I'm there for them. And I have this vision and I have this understanding. So
and that's something
why I think it's important for us to talk.
That's something I feel in myself too. If I have something and I can help someone else by giving it to them, I'm so happy to do it, because anyone who's trying to do something creative, they're fighting an uphill battle every single day.
Yes.
And it's amazing to me specifically, like I'm 8 episodes into the show, but just going out on the street, like if you present your idea to somebody and they like it and they can help you, they will. And I feel blessed to be able to like talk to you and talk to, I was just on a show in Virginia called the Chad Dukes Show. I did an interview with them. And it was literally just like I went into their shop. I asked if I could put a flyer there. They asked me some questions and they helped platform me.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. It's amazing. I've been doing this for 4 months and I've already made some connections.
All right. So here's advice I'm going to give you. All right. So you're doing this show, right? When I did Heart Attack, I decided that I was going to use Heart Attack to talk to people I could learn from. And I knew that when you have a microphone and you get people talking, you have a platform and you have a way to get them to speak to you. So I looked for who can I talk to learn the things I want to learn to succeed with American horror. And you're in that position right now. So target what you're doing so you could achieve your goal, because all these people, they want to talk to you. I learned that as the guy with the microphone, the guy with the camera crew. Man, when you show up to a location and you're walking around, you talk to people, nobody's paying attention, nobody gives a fucking shit. And then all of a sudden, now my camera crew is there Now I'm directing them. Now I'm saying, I need a camera here. I need a camera here. Where's my light? I need this. And I get the magic microphone in my hand. And all of a sudden, the entire location is looking at me differently. Here we go. And it doesn't happen until they see all that. And they see all that, and man, they change. Oh, yeah.
Something comes out of them. Me and my girlfriend made vision boards at the beginning of the year, and there's a quote from, I think it was someone in The Who. I hate to misattribute this, but if you want to be big league, you got to start acting like it. And that's what popped in my head when you said that.
Yeah, totally. Well, brother, this has been lovely.
It's been amazing, man.
Can't wait to hear what this is on the air, and best of luck.
Thank you. We'll be talking again sometime soon, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, there's more stories. I got scarier stories.
I'll pick a better time next time.
It's all good. It's Sunday. Sunday, the day of our Lord.
It's
Have
the
a good
day,
one, buddy.
You too.
Happy
Have a good
trail.
evening, man. Now those were some frightfully fun stories. Howdy everybody, it's me, your host Danny, and I wanted to let you in on something special. You might have noticed that when I introduce the show, I say we are the Hometown Horrors podcast. That's because there will always be at least 3 people in each episode. Me, the person who wants to hear a good story, the guest, the teller of a good story, and you, the listener, that takes that story and carries it with you out into the world. And we make up a special kind of trinity. We are the Hometown Horrors podcast. And if you ever want to graduate from listener to guest, reach out to us via our handle on Instagram, hometown_horrors_podcast. Our email is thehometownhorrorspodcast, no spaces, @gmail.com, or via text or phone call at 571-358-8880, which FYI is not my personal number, but give it a ring. I'll get back to you, because if there's anything I've learned from doing the podcast is that everybody has a story, and that story deserves to be heard. On your number one source for the most spine-tingling, gut-wrenching, insomnia-inducing stories around, the Hometown Horrors Podcast.